What they do have a little bit of evidence on is that the shape of our vocal tract wasn't until about 100,000 years ago wasn't even able to make the vocalizations of the modern speech sounds. So so it wasn't even possible. Although that doesn't necessarily mean there wasn't language, because it just could have been a much more primitive version of what evolved.
Of grunts?
Yeah, exactly. And I did see someone, even though I saw this was poo-pooed by most people, some people think that spoken language evolved from sign language, and that our modern gestures are a holdover from that, which I thought was interesting, but most people go, nah, that's not true.
I ran into another one, and what you're talking about for everybody listening is called a proto-language.
Yeah.
And evidence of a proto-language supports one theory, which we'll talk about in a minute. But one idea for a proto-language is that we started talking using onomatopoeia.
Oh, really?
Which would make snap, crackle, and pop like the oldest words on Earth, you know?
Yeah.
But, well, I guess we should probably get into it now. Like, there are basically two competing theories for how we acquire language as a species, right?
Yeah, and I like both of them.
I noticed at the end, you're like, why can't we all just get along?
Yeah.
As far as linguistics goes.
Because I'm not a linguist, and so I'm not going to sit here and poo-poo and argue, because I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough about it.
Okay.
But the first, Josh, is that we adapted to survive, so we learned how to speak.
Right.
And that's kind of the simplest way to say it. The example I gave in here is, and then we'll talk about who are the leaders in this whole category that believe this. But tuk-tuks hunting on the range, on the plains, on the savannah.
Yeah.
And tuk-tuk, thunder scares away the deer. So tuk-tuk goes hungry.
Right.
So then later on, tuk-tuk has already maybe learned to grunt about like the deer being nearby to his buddy. Who's his friend? Did we ever name a friend?
Oh, Mort.
Morty.
Yeah.
So he's already learned how to tell Morty that deer nearby. So shut up.
Right. Because Morty talks too much.
Just incessantly.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden he learns that thunder and bad weather might scare deer away, so he goes hungry. So he learns, now I've got to learn like what bad weather looks like coming in and how to tell Morty, hey, pick up the pace, dude, because bad weather's coming and we don't want to go hungry again. So that was just one of the stepping stones in evolving speech.
Right. And it's kind of like the idea behind it is that the speech evolved out of the combinations of these things, like you're saying.
Yeah.
So you put them together, and all of a sudden, that makes a lot of sense. I'm able to describe some larger portion of the world around us.
Yeah, and as things got more complex, the language had to, like
Right.
as they learned more things.
Right, like we settled down, and
Sure.
agriculture would have had like a huge impact on something like that.
Yeah, and keeping children alive, apparently. Like once we settled in villages, a lot of people think that language really took a leap forward because we had to, keep the species alive by protecting the kids.
I guess also the idea that you could warn somebody about something, right?
Sure.
That isn't necessarily just something you could point at
Right.
and be like, let's get out of here through gesture.
Right.
Something maybe further away, something that you couldn't see right then. That would lead directly to a trait that led to survival.
Yeah.
Which is the whole basis of natural selection.
Exactly.
Which means that people who could do that would be able to go reproduce, and that trait would survive and be passed along.
And I imagine reproduction and all needed its own language as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, hey, mama.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit HowStuffWorks.com.